From a very young age, I developed a special relationship with all things sweet. I remember the pure joy of a birthday cake, the excitement of a bag of sweets after school, or the simple comfort of a sugary biscuit with a cup of tea. These treats were not just food, they were rewards, celebrations, and sources of immediate happiness. My childhood memories are filled with the taste of sugar. It was there for every special occasion and every little victory. Looking back, I can see how these early experiences built a strong connection in my mind between sweetness and feeling good, a pattern that would follow me for many years. As I grew older, this habit of reaching for sugar became deeply ingrained. Whenever I felt stressed from exams, tired after a long day, or just a little bit down, my first instinct was to find something sweet. A chocolate bar or a fizzy drink felt like a quick fix, a little burst of energy and pleasure that seemed to make everything better for a moment. It was my go-to coping mechanism, a reliable friend that never failed to lift my spirits, even if only temporarily. This cycle of stress and sugar became a normal part of my routine, something I did without even thinking about it. This reliance on sugary foods and drinks continued well into my adult life. A busy day at work would be powered by sweet coffees and snacks from the vending machine. An evening on the sofa often involved a tub of ice cream or a packet of biscuits. I told myself it was just a small treat, a harmless indulgence I deserved after working so hard. I didn't see it as a problem because it was so common. Everyone around me seemed to be doing the same thing, so it felt completely normal to use sugar as a pick-me-up throughout the day. The issue was that I never really stopped to consider the long-term effects of this habit. I was focused only on the immediate comfort it provided. The temporary high was so appealing that I ignored the subtle signs my body was sending me. I thought my love for sugar was just a harmless personality quirk, a sweet tooth that I had always had. I couldn't have imagined then how much this simple preference was quietly shaping my overall health and well-being, slowly leading me down a path I would eventually have to change. As the years went by, I started to notice some unwelcome changes in how I felt day to day. The most obvious one was a constant feeling of tiredness. I would wake up feeling unrefreshed, as if I hadn't slept at all. And by the afternoon, I would be hit with a wave of exhaustion that made it difficult to concentrate. I blamed it on my busy schedule and the pressures of work, but this fatigue was different. It was a deep, persistent lack of energy that no amount of rest seemed to fix. My motivation dwindled, and even simple tasks started to feel like a huge effort. Alongside the tiredness came a noticeable shift in my moods. I found myself becoming more irritable and short-tempered. Small things that wouldn't have bothered me before would now make me feel annoyed or anxious. My emotions felt like they were on a roller coaster, swinging from highs to lows without any clear reason. This emotional instability was confusing and frustrating. I felt like I wasn't in control of my own feelings anymore. It affected my interactions with others and made me feel disconnected and on edge a lot of the time, which was not like me at all. My physical health was also showing signs of strain. My skin, which had always been relatively clear, started to experience more frequent breakouts and a general dullness. I also noticed I was craving unhealthy foods more than ever, especially those high in sugar and refined carbohydrates. It felt like a vicious cycle. The more sugar I ate to try and boost my energy, the worse I ultimately felt. These symptoms were no longer just minor annoyances. They were starting to impact my quality of life in a significant way, and I knew something had to change. The turning point came when I started to connect the dots between what I was eating and how I was feeling. I began to suspect that my lifelong love for sugar might be the root cause of my problems. It was a difficult realization because sugar had always been my source of comfort. The idea that this very thing could be making me feel so unwell was hard to accept. However, the evidence was becoming too clear to ignore. I decided it was time to look deeper into what sugar was actually doing to my body and find a way to break free from its hold. To truly understand my situation, I delved into the science of how our bodies process sugar. I learned that refined sugar, like the white sugar found in so many processed foods and drinks, is absorbed into the bloodstream very quickly. This is because it has been stripped of all its natural fiber, vitamins, and minerals. This rapid absorption causes a sudden, sharp increase in blood sugar levels, often called a sugar spike. In response to this spike, your body releases a large amount of a hormone called insulin to help move the sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. The problem is that this flood of insulin often overcompensates, causing your blood sugar levels to drop just as quickly as they rose. This sudden drop, or crash, is what leads to many of the negative feelings I had been experiencing. When your blood sugar is low, your body goes into a kind of energy-saving mode. This is why I felt so sleepy, lethargic, and unable to concentrate after a sugary snack. My body was essentially running out of its readily available fuel, leaving me feeling completely drained and foggy-headed. Furthermore, I discovered that these wild swings in blood sugar put a lot of stress on the body. To counteract the low blood sugar, the body releases stress hormones like adrenaline. While adrenaline can give you a temporary jolt of energy, having it released too often can lead to feelings of anxiety, irritability, and even anger. This explained my mood swings perfectly. My body was constantly trying to rebalance itself, leading to a state of hormonal chaos that left me feeling emotionally unstable and on edge. This new understanding was a revelation. It wasn't just about calories or weight. It was about the complex hormonal and chemical reactions that sugar triggers in the body. I also learned that sugar stimulates the brain's reward system, releasing chemicals like dopamine that make us feel pleasure. This is why it can feel so addictive, and why quitting can be so difficult. We are biologically wired to seek it out. Armed with this knowledge, I felt empowered. I finally understood the enemy and could start planning a strategy to reclaim my health and well-being. The journey to reduce sugar was not easy, especially at the beginning. My body was so used to its regular hits of sweetness that I experienced withdrawal symptoms, including headaches and intense cravings. The key for me was to take a gradual approach rather than going cold turkey. I started by cutting out the most obvious sources, like fizzy drinks and sweets. Then, I began reading food labels more carefully and was shocked to find hidden sugars in so many savory foods, like sauces, bread, and ready meals. This made me more mindful of my choices. As the weeks went by, I started to notice remarkable improvements. The first thing to change was my energy levels. The afternoon slumps disappeared, and I had steady, consistent energy throughout the day. I no longer needed a sugary snack to keep me going. My sleep also improved dramatically. Without the constant adrenaline spikes, I was able to fall asleep more easily and enjoy a deeper, more restful night. Waking up feeling refreshed became my new normal. My skin began to clear up, looking brighter and healthier than it had in years. My moods also stabilized. I felt calmer, more patient, and in control. For anyone looking to reduce their sugar intake, my advice is to start small. Don't try to eliminate everything at once, as this can feel overwhelming and lead to failure. A great first step is to swap sugary drinks for water, herbal tea, or sparkling water with a slice of lemon. Instead of a sugary breakfast cereal, try porridge with berries or eggs. When you crave a snack, reach for a piece of fruit, a handful of nuts, or some Greek yogurt. These simple swaps can make a huge difference without feeling like a major sacrifice. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. It's about creating sustainable habits for a healthier and happier life. Be patient with yourself and celebrate the small victories along the way. Over time, your taste buds will adjust, and you'll start to appreciate the natural sweetness in whole foods. Breaking up with sugar was one of the best decisions I ever made for my health. It gave me back my energy, my clarity, and my sense of well-being, proving that a truly sweet life is one that isn't dependent on sugar at all.